Masoud Pezeshkian is an Iranian politician and physician who assumed office as the ninth president of Iran on July 28, 2024. He is the oldest person to serve in this position, taking office at the age of 69. Pezeshkian was born on September 29, 1954, in Mahabad, in Iran's West Azerbaijan province. His father was Azerbaijani and his mother was Kurdish, though he identifies himself and his parents as Turks. Masoud Pezeshkian developed an interest in medicine during his conscription duty in Zabul, which he served after receiving a diploma in food services in 1973. After completing his service, he pursued his medical education at Tabriz University of Medical Sciences, where he graduated as a general practitioner in 1985. During the Iran-Iraq War from 1980 until 1988, Pezeshkian served as a medic and fighter on the front lines and organized medical teams. After the war, he specialized in general surgery at Tabriz University of Medical Sciences and later received a subspecialty in cardiac surgery from Iran University of Medical Sciences in 1993. He became a specialist in heart surgery and worked as a heart surgeon at Shahid Madani Hospital. He also served as chancellor of Tabriz University of Medical Sciences from 1994 until 2000. He is currently a professor of heart surgery and a permanent academic member of Tabriz University of Medical Sciences. Since 2010, he has also been a permanent member of the Iranian Academy of Medical Sciences. His high status as a cardiac surgeon is often noted, with some sources referring to him simply as the doctor. His physician profile reflects that of a respected cardiac academic. He has co-authored several articles on cardiology and is listed as a co-editor-in-chief of the Journal of Cardiovascular and Thoracic Research, an international open-access and peer-reviewed journal affiliated with the Iranian Heart Association. Masoud Pezeshkian began his political career as deputy health minister in Mohammad Khatami's administration in 1997. During his time as deputy health minister, he maintained a relatively low profile. While some of his international supporters point to this period as evidence of his reformist tendencies, claiming he sided with students during the 1999 protests, there is little concrete evidence that he actively intervened on the students' behalf. He did not resign from the administration, unlike some other cabinet members, after the government allowed a crackdown on university campuses. In 2001, he was appointed Minister of Health and Medical Education, a position he held in Mohammad Khatami's second administration until 2005. During his time as minister, he faced challenges and controversies. For example, his appointment reportedly led to the resignation of some ministry officials who deemed him unfit for the role. He also faced an unsuccessful parliamentary impeachment attempt in 2003 due to issues related to staff appointments, drug policies, including alleged drug shortages, medical tariffs, and foreign trips. Despite the impeachment attempt, he survived the vote and continued in his role with renewed parliamentary confidence. Pezeshkian's tenure as health minister also saw him implement programs to expand healthcare services to rural areas. For example, he oversaw the increase of access to primary healthcare services. This involved strengthening the existing network of health houses, Khane Behtasht, and primary healthcare centers in villages and remote areas, making basic medical services more accessible to those far from urban hospitals. His current statements as president continue to emphasize the need for fair distribution of resources and easing the shortage of physicians in less developed areas. The impact of his efforts during his time as health minister was a key factor in his political trajectory, and as the rural population recognized his contributions to improving their access to healthcare. Today, Iran's health system, particularly its primary healthcare services and universal health coverage, is often lauded as a regional and even global model by officials, and Pezeshkian, as president, continues to commend these ongoing programs. After serving as health minister, Pezeshkian was elected to the Iranian parliament, that is, the Majlis, representing Tabriz, Osku, and Azavshan. He served 5 consecutive terms from 2008 until 2024. During this time, Pezeshkian established a profile as an advocate for the moderate or reformist faction within Iranian politics, although he has also described himself as a reformist principlist, emphasizing his loyalty to the principles of the Islamic Republic while seeking reforms. In the Majlis, Pezeshkian was known for his willingness to voice criticism of government actions, particularly regarding human rights and civil liberties. For example, following the 2009 post-election protests, known as the Green Movement protests, he delivered a powerful speech in the Majlis condemning the government's crackdown on demonstrations, famously imploring, "Do not kill people like a wild animal." He also criticized the government for the death of Gina Masa Amini, the strict imposition of the hijab, and law enforcement's brutal reaction to protests beginning in 2009. Pezeshkian has consistently emphasized the rights of ethnic groups such as Azeris, Kurds, and Baluchis. He took a senior position in a caucus of ethnic Azerbaijani representatives in the Majlis and supported the implementation of Article 15 of the Iranian constitution, which relates to the rights of all ethnicities. He also took the initiative on legislation related to healthcare, reflecting his professional background as a surgeon and former health minister. During Hassan Rouhani's presidency, Pezeshkian strongly supported the 2015 nuclear deal, called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, that is, the JCPOA, and frequently spoke in its favor in Parliament. From 2016 to 2020, he served as the first Deputy Speaker of the Parliament, a senior leadership role. This period coincided with a time when moderates and reformists held more influence in the legislature. While considered reform-oriented, he has also shown loyalty to Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, which has allowed him to operate within the established political system and secure his candidacies for parliament and later the presidency. His approach has often been described as trying to balance the hardline conservative elements with a desire for internal reforms. Pezeshkian ran for president multiple times before being elected. He registered as a candidate in the 2013 presidential election but withdrew. He was then disqualified from running in the 2021 presidential election. In the 2024 presidential election, called after the death of President Ebrahim Raisi, Pezeshkian's candidacy was approved, a surprising turn given his disqualification from parliamentary elections earlier in the year. He won the election on July 5, 2024 in a runoff, securing 54.76% of the popular vote, and was formally appointed president by Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei on July 28, 2024, and sworn in before the Iranian parliament on July 30th. As president, Pezeshkian has stated his commitment to removing sanctions and improving the economy. He has also expressed support for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, and condemned its designation as a terrorist organization by the Trump administration. On foreign policy, he supports amicable relationships with all countries except Israel, and has affirmed Iran's continued support for Palestinians. He significantly increased the representation of women and individuals from diverse ethnic and religious backgrounds in his government. While he has criticized government actions such as the arrest of Gina Masa Amini and voiced support for protests, he has also cautioned against calls to remove the supreme leader. Masoud Pezeshkian faces significant challenges as president of Iran, many of which are interconnected and deeply rooted in the country's political and economic structure. A fundamental challenge for any Iranian president is that real authority ultimately lies with the supreme leader, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei. The president often serves more as an implementer of policies set by the supreme leader and other powerful unelected bodies, rather than a truly independent decision-maker. This limits Pezeshkian's ability to enact the reforms he campaigned on, especially if they clash with the hardline establishment's views. Iran's economy is in a dire state, plagued by mismanagement, high inflation, unemployment, and widespread poverty. A major contributing factor to this is the extensive and long-standing international sanctions, particularly those imposed by the United States. Pezeshkian campaigned on improving the economy and lifting sanctions, which necessitates engagement with the West and potentially reviving the 2015 JCPOA nuclear deal. However, navigating these complex diplomatic efforts while facing internal hardliner opposition and external pressure is a formidable task. Pezeshkian campaigned on promises of easing social restrictions, including the mandatory hijab law and lifting internet censorship. However, delivering on these promises is challenging given the strong conservative forces within the regime. There is significant public disappointment with the lack of tangible change on these fronts, and the mandatory hijab remains law, even if enforcement might vary. Addressing the deep-seated grievances of a disillusioned population, especially after widespread protests, will be a major test. Pezeshkian is seen as a moderate or reform-oriented figure, but he also needs to appease hardline factions who view any significant reform as a threat to the Islamic Republic's principles. He has been criticized for appearing to appease hardliners and for not delivering on key campaign promises, such as sidelining reformist allies from his administration and increasing funding for hardliner-backed institutions. Striking a balance between his reformist aspirations and the realities of the conservative-dominated political landscape is crucial for his survival and effectiveness. Iran's foreign policy is largely determined by the supreme leader, but the president still has to navigate complex regional and international relations. Managing the ongoing showdown with the United States and the European Union over Iran's nuclear program is a critical challenge. Iran continues uranium enrichment, and international concerns remain high. Pezeshkian insists Iran does not seek nuclear weapons, but wants a fair and balanced agreement that respects Iran's nuclear rights and lifts sanctions. Events like the war in Gaza and the Israel-Hezbollah conflict directly impact Iran's foreign policy. Pezeshkian's administration has to navigate these tensions, support its regional allies, and manage the risk of escalation, even as Iran's influence in some areas like Syria and Lebanon has seen a decline. While Pezeshkian expressed a desire for rapprochement with the West and expanding trade relations, the path to achieving this is fraught with obstacles, including the continued U.S. sanctions and deep-seated mistrust. Pezeshkian has acknowledged the need to engage the Iranian diaspora, which could potentially invest billions of dollars in the country. However, the political climate and economic challenges have driven many educated and financially capable Iranians out of the country, making it difficult to attract and retain talent and investment. Masoud Pezeshkian's biggest goals as president include economic improvement and sanctions relief. Addressing the economic crisis is his primary focus, which includes aiming to combat high inflation, unemployment, and poverty. He believes in the necessity of economic growth and sees it as impossible with closed borders. For instance, he has stated that Iran needs significant foreign investment, around $200 billion, to achieve an 8% economic growth rate. Pezeshkian views the removal of international sanctions as crucial for economic recovery, emphasizing that with sanctions, one can perhaps survive, but one cannot progress. He advocates for reviving the 2015 JCPOA nuclear deal and adhering to Financial Action Task Force (FATF) criteria to facilitate this. He aims to deepen economic cooperation with neighboring countries, like GCC countries, Turkey and Iraq, as well as with global partners like China and Russia. He also seeks to improve trade relations with the West. He is committed to making the government treasury in a glass room to eliminate corruption and discrimination. His administration is also looking to adjust long-running cash handout programs by disqualifying wealthier citizens to save government funds and redirect support to low and middle-income families. He has called his administration a national reconciliation administration and aims to build a strong basis for his government by engaging different political forces, including reformists, principalists, and moderates. During his campaign, he voiced support for granting freedom of choice to women regarding the veil, hijab, and spoke in favor of internet freedom. He questioned the need to filter the internet. However, his ability to deliver on these is subject to the supreme leader and hardline establishment. He pledged to upgrade public schools to compete with private schools, aiming to ensure high-quality, accessible public education. He prioritized solving issues in Khuzestan province, a resource-rich area facing significant challenges. He aims to curb the emigration of Iranians and encourage those living abroad to return. He sees tourism as a crucial tool for economic development and links it to foreign policy goals. He promised to address discrimination and improve the conditions of corporate employees. He pledged to confront actions harmful to the environment, focusing on air quality and dust issues. He emphasizes constructive relations with the world and strengthening ties with neighbors to create a strong region through dialogue and cooperation rather than rivalry. He aims for an opportunity-driven policy, creating balance in relations with all countries, enhancing ties with the global south, and strengthening strategic cooperation with China and Russia. While seeking to improve relations with Western countries to lift sanctions, he also focuses on managing differences and avoiding the escalation of tensions with the United States. He continues to express Iran's long-standing support for Palestine and condemns Israeli actions. He has stated the importance of enhancing Iran's military capabilities for national defense and has a security assurance for regional neighbors. One of his earliest successes was securing parliamentary approval for his entire cabinet, a feat not achieved since 2001. This indicates a degree of successful negotiation and compromise with various political factions, as his cabinet was designed to appease different camps of Iranian politics. Notably, his cabinet includes Farzaneh Sadegh, the second woman to become a minister after the 1979 revolution, and Abbas Araghchi, a key negotiator of the 2015 nuclear deal. He also increased the number of women and people from diverse ethnic and religious backgrounds in his government, including appointing 2 women as vice presidents, 1 woman as a minister, another woman as the government spokesperson, and a Sunni politician as vice president of rural development, though this appointment was rejected by Majlis. Pezeshkian quickly embarked on his first international visit as president, traveling to Iraq in September 2024. He also visited New York to address the United Nations General Assembly and met with leaders from France and Switzerland, aiming to signal a desire for renewed diplomacy with Western countries and an easing of Iran's economic isolation. His entourage, including veteran diplomats like Mohammad Javad Zarif, sought to convey Iran's interest in reducing its isolation and economic woes. Pezeshkian has consistently focused on addressing Iran's economic challenges since taking office. While concrete results take time to manifest, his continued emphasis on lifting sanctions, attracting investment, and improving living standards for ordinary Iranians has been a consistent theme. His election itself, particularly as the only reform-oriented candidate allowed to run, was seen by some as a success for the moderate faction and a signal of the regime's concern about public disillusionment. He has called his administration a national reconciliation administration and has tried to bridge political divides. Masoud Pezeshkian's ability to achieve his policy goals, particularly those related to economic improvement, social reforms, and foreign relations, will heavily depend on his collaboration with and the acquiescence of several key institutions and individuals within Iran's complex political structure. By far, his most critical relationship is with Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei. The supreme leader holds ultimate authority over all major state affairs, including foreign policy, military, and key domestic issues. The president functions largely as the head of the executive branch, implementing the supreme leader's directives. Pezeshkian needs Khamenei's explicit or implicit approval for significant policy shifts. His ability to navigate the nuclear deal, lift sanctions, or enact social reforms will be directly contingent on the supreme leader's willingness to allow such changes. Pezeshkian has already demonstrated this by seeking Khamenei's approval for his cabinet. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has vast economic interests and controls significant portions of the Iranian economy, especially in strategic sectors like construction, energy, and telecommunications. Any efforts by Pezeshkian to open up the economy, attract foreign investment, or combat corruption will inevitably intersect with the IRGC's financial holdings. Their cooperation, or at least non-interference, is crucial. The IRGC also is the primary enforcer of the regime's ideological and security policies, including social restrictions. Their stance on issues like the mandatory hijab and internet censorship will significantly impact Pezeshkian's ability to deliver on his campaign promises for social freedoms. The IRGC wields immense political power and can undermine a president's agenda if it perceives it as a threat to its interests or the revolution's principles. Pezeshkian has reportedly tried to co-opt conservative forces, including those linked to the IRGC, in his cabinet appointments to avoid early friction. The Majlis must approve the president's cabinet nominations and pass legislation. While Pezeshkian secured approval for his initial cabinet, the parliament remains largely conservative-dominated, meaning he will need to continuously negotiate and compromise to get his proposed laws and initiatives passed. The Majlis has oversight powers and can challenge or even impeach ministers, as seen during Pezeshkian's own time as health minister. Pezeshkian's chosen cabinet members will be instrumental in implementing his policies across various ministries. The selection of competent and aligned individuals is critical. Ministers in portfolios like Foreign Affairs, Abbas Araghchi, Economic Affairs and Finance, Interior, and Intelligence will be vital. Their ability to work with other government branches and powerful entities will directly impact policy outcomes. Experienced diplomats like Mohammad Javad Zarif and Abbas Araghchi will bring significant experience in international negotiations and will be crucial for any efforts to revive the nuclear deal and lift sanctions. Although Zarif resigned from a strategic vice presidential role, he remains an influential figure and informal advisor. The Guardian Council has the power to veto legislation passed by Parliament if it deems it incompatible with Islamic law or the Constitution. This gives them significant control over the legislative process and could block any reformist initiatives. While relevant to elections, the Guardian Council's role in vetting candidates for all elections significantly shapes the political landscape within which Pezeshkian must operate. The judiciary is a conservative-dominated branch that enforces laws and can interpret them in ways that impact social and political freedoms. Its cooperation, or at least non-interference, is vital for any moves toward greater civil liberties. Pezeshkian positions himself as a figure of national reconciliation and aims to work with various political forces. His success will depend on his ability to build consensus and prevent significant opposition from either hardline principalists or disgruntled reformists who feel he isn't delivering enough. Mobilizing and maintaining the support of the public, particularly those who voted for him, hoping for change, will be important for his political leverage. In essence, Pezeshkian's presidency will be a continuous balancing act. His ability to achieve his goals will hinge on his capacity to navigate the intricate web of power centered around the supreme leader and the IRGC, while simultaneously managing the expectations of a hopeful but disillusioned population and a conservative-dominated parliament.